But fate seemed unwilling to let go of Michael Jackson. He still carried another unresolved burden, one even darker and scarier, remaining unproven even decades after his passing. No snowflake in an avalanche ever feels responsible. A Canadian artist living in China once said, "This phrase eerily fits the accusations against Michael Jackson." Let's begin with this mansion. It's called Neverland Ranch. Yes, you heard right. It shares its name with Peter Pan's magical land. Michael Jackson bought the property on the hills of the Santa Ynez Valley in Santa Barbara County, California in 1987 for about $19 million. At the time, this was an astronomical sum at Neverland. Michael built his own playground with amusement parks, lakes, movie theaters, and a zoo. Described as a piece of America from past decades, it featured white castles, ornate streetlights, well-manicured lawns, and flower beds. Candy shops offered free sweets, and music constantly played from hidden speakers and rocks. One of the zoo animals, Bubbles the chimp, became Michael's most famous companion. Celebrities like Elizabeth Taylor attended events at Neverland. Taylor even married her seventh husband, Larry Fortensky, at the ranch. But the ones drawing the most attention weren't the celebrities, were the children. Children were frequently brought to Neverland through charity events or to meet child stars like Macaulay Culkin. And it was these children that led to the lingering accusation Michael Jackson had to bear. The King of Pop was repeatedly accused of child molestation at his ranch. 10 years after his death, the 4-hour documentary Leaving Neverland, directed by Dan Reed, reignited endless debates over whether or not Michael Jackson sexually abused children. The film focuses on allegations from two men, Wade Robson, 36, a choreographer, and James Safechuck, 42, a programmer who sued Michael Jackson, claiming he sexually abused them during the late 1980s when they were boys. However, the lawsuit was dismissed due to lack of evidence. Before the documentary premiere, Sundance Film Festival director John Cooper arranged medical staff to assist anyone emotionally affected by watching the detailed abuse descriptions. James Safechuck revealed that Michael took him, then a teenager, to various high-end stores to try on jewelry. Michael told salespeople he was buying gifts for women, so Safechuck's small hands helped estimate sizes. Michael later bought a diamond ring and gifted it to him during a fake wedding, ceremony complete with vows and a near-complete wedding. Ritual, Safechuck publicly displayed the ring, emphasizing that Jackson used expensive gifts to exchange for sexual favors. At the height of their relationship, as defined by Michael, he gave Robson, the other accuser, expensive tech gadgets common in the late 1980s, used to send messages or receive fan mail. Neverland, admired worldwide, held many secrets. Hidden rooms included a private viewing area inside the movie theater with one-way glass, allowing Michael to watch without being seen. The train house also had a secret loft with a bed. Pools and bathtubs were also cited as locations where alleged abuse occurred. With too many uncertainties and lack of concrete evidence from both sides, the battle over the authenticity of Leaving Neverland remains heated between Americans, Michael Jackson fans, child advocacy groups, and the accusers. No one knows whether to trust legal arguments or the testimonies of those who spent nearly their entire lives bringing this shocking story to light. These accusations remain unsolved. The King of Pop is no longer here to defend himself. What will happen to this legacy? Although the 2019 documentary presented extremely disturbing claims, it lacked convincing evidence, just statements from two individuals whose credibility cannot be verified. Even the ring used as evidence could easily mislead those biased against Michael Jackson, as no one knows exactly what it looked like. And 2019 wasn't the first time. Michael Jackson was accused of child molestation. Back in 1993, Jackson was accused by a 13-year-old boy, Gavin Arvizo, and his mother. Police searched Jackson's home and found legally purchased books featuring nude boys, so the grand jury declined to press charges. Later that year, the Chanleys accused Jackson of inappropriate behavior, but he denied the allegations and countersued. For blackmail. In 1994, Jackson settled privately with the Chanley family outside court, ending the case. He was declared innocent due to insufficient evidence. In 2003, during a documentary episode titled Living with Michael Jackson, Jackson was filmed holding hands and sleeping with a boy once. Again stirring controversy. Gavin Arvizo and his mother accused Jackson of misconduct. Jackson was arrested in November 2003 and charged with 8 counts related to child molestation and intoxication. During the trial, Jackson denied everything, insisting sleepovers were non-sexual. The trial began on March 31, 2005, lasting 5 months. In June 2005, Jackson was acquitted. A life full of glory and turbulence passed. Even in death, Michael Jackson found no peace. His death itself became a topic of discussion for years. June 25, 2009, Michael Jackson died at Neverland Ranch. According to the autopsy report, he died from acute propofol intoxication leading to respiratory failure. His personal doctor, Conrad Murray, found Jackson barely breathing in his bedroom. Emergency medical treatment failed, and Jackson was declared dead at Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center at 12:20 p.m. after a 911 call. Michael Jackson's death was a massive loss to pop music and cast a gloomy shadow globally. At the time of his death, he was preparing for a European concert tour. On August 28, 2009, Los Angeles County investigators ruled out homicide, closing the case. But 2 years later, a legal battle emerged over who was responsible for his sudden death. The first suspect investigated was Dr. Conrad Murray, Michael Jackson's personal physician. According to Murray's testimony, he administered propofol, a surgical anesthetic, to help Jackson sleep at night. In the last 2 months of his life, Jackson struggled with insomnia so severely that Murray resorted to this measure. Murray was immediately arrested for involuntary manslaughter. This satisfied Jackson's family and fans to some extent. Surprisingly, Murray showed no remorse. He believed he had done nothing wrong and served his client's needs. He refused to cooperate and denied all allegations, making the investigation difficult. Further complicating matters, Murray shocked the judge and public by stating that Jackson was addicted to drugs and begged him for medication to help him sleep. Murray's lawyer argued that Jackson may have self-administered a fatal dose of propofol, leading to his death. To prove his client's innocence, the lawyer requested exhumation of Jackson's body, an impossible request. Meanwhile, police had their own ways to support the accusations against Murray. 2 leading experts on propofol were invited as expert witnesses: Dr. Paul White, known as the father of propofol, and Dr. Steve Schaefer, who authored guidelines and warnings accompanying the drug. They testified that based on tissue samples from Jackson, he had used propofol along with 2 sedatives, benzodiazepine, lorazepam, and midazolam almost nightly in the final 2 months of his life. Murray's defense lawyer argued that Murray was trying to wean Jackson off drugs by prescribing 25 milligrams of propofol, enough to help him sleep, not kill him. However, regardless of intent, Murray and his lawyer couldn't deny that he managed the medication irresponsibly. For example, he didn't monitor Jackson's heart rate, breathing, or blood pressure after administering the drug, failing to respond timely to abnormalities. Moreover, after discovering Jackson had stopped breathing, Murray ordered security to hide all medications before calling emergency services, clearly indicating awareness of his negligence and an attempt to cover it up. Experts concluded that Dr. Conrad Murray acted recklessly and negligently, leading to the death of Michael Jackson. This was not just a simple medical mistake, it was criminal negligence. Ultimately, Murray was sentenced to 4 years in prison for involuntary manslaughter. Although his sentence was originally 4 years, he was released early for good behavior amid overcrowding in prisons. Even today, many still listen to Michael Jackson's timeless music, not just as songs, but as memories and monuments of a generation or historical era. When will Michael Jackson finally rest in peace? When will the accusations against him finally be clarified? When will the world forget the figure once called the King of Pop? Perhaps only time can give us the most accurate answer. Thank you for watching and supporting this video. Today. From Mr. Bit UT channel. Goodbye and see you in our next videos. Have a wonderful day. This is what we know about this man. Throughout history until today, I probably still cannot name any entertainer who has had a greater influence than Michael Jackson in the world. His glorious and dazzling career, along with timeless songs, are what people talk about when describing him. However, that's not all. Few know that the pop king led a life full of secrets, hidden for many years, from an unhappy childhood to horrifying dark corners at the peak of his career, or the mysterious circumstances surrounding his death. There are countless theories surrounding Michael Jackson's life that people continue to debate even today. Some say he was a member of the Illuminati. Others claim he died from drug overdose. But what else do we not yet know about the life and death of this legend? And are the rumors about him actually true? We will find the answer in this video. Michael Jackson, the mysterious life and death of the King of Pop. As usual, before getting into the main content, please support Mr. Bit UT channel with a like and subscribe to never miss any interesting videos. Don't look away from your screen because we're going straight into the content now. You already know how famous Michael Jackson was, and information about him can easily be found online. But perhaps it's worth briefly summarizing his legendary life to better understand the mysteries that come later in this video. The 1950s industrial outskirts of Gary, Indiana, smoke-filled steel mills and heavy factories marked America's industrial era. Born into a working-class African-American family with 9 children, Michael Jackson grew up poor. Joseph and Catherine Jackson did their best to provide food and clothing for their children, most importantly nurturing love for music. Joseph worked as a steel mill laborer and occasionally played R&B with a band called the Falcons. But it seems his love for his children wasn't as strong as his passion for music. Why do you say that? Because he often physically abused his children with belts, sticks, and whatever he could get his hands on. He forced them to practice relentlessly, devoting all their time and energy to music. He believed only music could free his children from poverty. In his autobiography, Michael wrote that his childhood was a string of traumatic memories. He didn't have the innocence or joy of playing like other kids his age. Instead, he lived and worked in a hellish environment. Michael once described being hung upside down by 1 foot from the ceiling by his father, while being beaten until his father was exhausted. The young pop star would often stand alone, crying in loneliness and sadness, haunted by fear and nausea every time his father appeared. In 1964, just entering 1st grade, Michael joined the family music group, the Jackson Brothers, which included Marlon, Jackie, Tito, Michael, and Jermaine. They toured around Indiana. After unexpected success with the song My Girl, the Jackson Brothers gained more confidence. They began organizing tours across states such as Chicago, Illinois, and eventually reached the East Coast and Midwest. In 1966, the group changed its name to the Jackson 5, with Michael and his older brother Jermaine as lead vocalists. Surprisingly, the family band gradually achieved great success. 2 years later, the Jackson 5 signed their first recording contract with Motown Records. and began making waves in the American music scene. Their songs received praise from critics and fans alike, holding top spots on the Billboard Hot 100 charts for long periods. Though still underage, Michael already showed signs of genius talent. At just 14, he released solo singles such as Got to Be There and Ben. Thanks to the early successes of his sons, Joseph decided to move the family to California. In the 1970s. Their first home was at 1616 North Quincy Avenue in Los Angeles. Entirely with the earnings from his son's music. At this time, the Jackson 5 were dubbed by the media as Jackson Mania, a term reflecting the public's admiration for the Jackson family. However, the group fell into decline in 1976 after relations soured with Motown Records. That same year, the Jackson 5 signed with CBS Records, but were sued by Motown for breaking their contract early. During this time, Michael began achieving personal success through self-composition and performance of hit songs, like Shake Your Body, Down to the Ground, and This Place Hotel. In 1978, Michael starred in the film The Wiz alongside Diana Ross. During filming, he met Queen Latifah, and together they planned to release Michael's first solo album 4 years later. In 1982, when his debut album Thriller was released, the role of the Jackson Family Band was nearly over. This marked the beginning of Michael Jackson's legendary solo career. Thriller ranked second among the most successful albums of all time in the U.S., staying atop music charts for extended periods. It became one of the best-selling albums ever, with over 107 million copies sold. It also contained several #1 hits on the Billboard Hot 100. But from here, a new chapter in Michael Jackson's career officially began. If we were to give it a title, it might be called Glory and Tragedy. Before Michael Jackson, few black artists had made such a global impact on the entertainment industry. Through talent and hard work, the pop king steadily climbed to the top of the billion-dollar, glamorous showbiz industry. Michael Jackson is a black singer who looks white. Well, actually, he is 100% black by heritage. And no, he did not use skin-lightening creams. Yes, the story behind Michael Jackson's changing skin color is quite complicated and far from happy. In the early 1980s, Michael Jackson was one of the most talked about black singers in media. He was celebrated as a symbol of African American achievement and received widespread support from audiences of all races, white, Asian, Native American, and especially African American communities. Michael Jackson represented perseverance and success for black artists in the land of the free. MTV owed much of its rise to prominence to Michael Jackson's popularity. However, things started to change. Many fans couldn't help but notice that each time Michael Jackson appeared in public, his appearance, especially his skin tone and facial features, changed significantly. By 1992, his skin visibly lightened, sparking intense discussions in the media. Michael did not deny these changes, but explained that he suffered from vitiligo, a condition causing pigment loss in patches of skin. However, this explanation did not pacify the anger of the African American community, many of whom felt he was trying to escape his roots to become white for greater success in racially divided American society. A New York plastic surgeon revealed that Michael had undergone excessive surgeries to reshape his nose, teeth, jaw, lips, and cheekbones. Tabloids in the U.S. even claimed that Michael slept in an oxygen-rich chamber to slow aging. But was that really true? What truly happened to the skin of the king of pop? Was there a human willing to abandon his roots for wealth and fame? Perhaps. The answer lies with this man, Dr. Arnold Klein, Michael Jackson's longtime dermatologist. He said Jackson showed symptoms of vitiligo in 1983, a condition characterized by patchy pigment loss. Moreover, the pop icon also suffered from another autoimmune disease called lupus. After 4 years of observation, Dr. Klein diagnosed Michael with both conditions in 1986 and recommended medical treatment. But the truth was even harsher. Vitiligo not only negatively affected Michael Jackson's physical health, but also caused severe psychological stress. To cover up uneven skin tones caused by the disease, Michael used layers of makeup and possibly skin lightening creams. These products made his skin appear lighter, giving him the pale complexion seen in public. Yet the public did not understand. People kept criticizing Michael Jackson for his changing skin tone, calling him a bad role model for young black men, or accusing him of wanting to look more white to gain roles in films and TV shows. In a 1993 interview with Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jackson directly addressed the issue. "There is no such thing as skin bleaching. I've never seen it. I don't know what it is. I have vitiligo, and I use makeup to cover the discolored skin. That's something I cannot control." He continued, "When people started making up stories that I don't want to be myself, it hurt me deeply. This is my problem. I can't control it. But 62 million Americans go out in the sun to darken their skin, and nobody says anything about it." That 62 million viewers watched the interview and got their answers. Except for some haters, most people empathized with him rather than doubted him. That interview sparked a wave of awareness about vitiligo, a condition previously little known. Michael Jackson always proudly declared himself a person of color, which was clearly expressed in a letter he wrote to Prince William in 1988. "Maybe I see the world through rose-colored glasses, but I love everyone on this planet. That's why stories about racism really bother me, because I believe everyone deserves equal rights. I was taught that, and I will always believe it. I just don't understand why people can have conflicts simply because of skin color. I love all races on Earth. Prejudice is a sign of decay. We all come into this world naked and bare-skinned, reminding me that I am the same beneath the clothes, regardless of skin color." After his death, investigators found tubes of benokin and hydroquinone in Michael Jackson's home. Both are depigmentation creams, recommended for adults with vitiligo covering more than 50% of their body. An autopsy confirmed that Michael Jackson indeed had vitiligo, showing a significant loss of melanocytes, the cells responsible for skin pigmentation. Thus, upon his death, the injustice of being accused of denying his race was finally cleared.